Over the course of this series, we're going to be talking a lot about your brand. So I thought maybe we should take a moment, talk about what a brand is and what it isn't. So grab your favorite drink, find a comfy chair, and let's talk retail. There's a video here on YouTube that talks about branding with a couple of experts kind of talking across the seating area. And the conversation starts off with, let's talk about what a brand is not. And the branding expert says it's not your name, it's not your logo, it's not your product line, it's none of these things. And while I understand where this expert was going with that, I think it could be just a little bit misleading to some people who don't really understand branding yet. So I wanted to just clarify, while I agree that it is not just those things, it is those things. Your brand is everything. It's everything that you say and do. It's every little thing that represents who you are as a company. So the definition that I like to use with my clients, I think this is a little bit easier to wrap your mind around. The definition that I like to use is that a brand is to a company as a personality is to a person. And just think about that for a couple of seconds. Think about how your personality reflects who you are as a person, and how many different ways that you represent your personality. It's in the way that you dress, it's in the language that you use, it's in your sense of humor, it's in the movies that you like to watch, the music that you like to listen to, the car that you drive, the house that you live in, the hobbies that you have. All of these things are in some way, shape, or form a representation of who you are as a person. They represent your personality. And then other people can see those representations of your personality, and they can decide whether or not they feel in alignment with your personality and you are somebody that they might want to spend time with. Brands work the exact same way. Absolutely everything that you say and do as a company is a representation of who you are as a brand. It is your brand. So one of the things that this means is that it includes both the intentional and the unintentional. A lot of branding experts like to use the definition that a brand is a promise that a company makes to its customers. And in some ways that's true. In everything that you say and do, you are expressing to your customer who you are as a company and what you stand for, what you believe in, and what you're going to provide to them as a company. If you get into a relationship with us, this is what we're going to do for you. And while that's true, it's not the whole story. I've always kind of joked with my clients that I find that funny because I always picture, a bunch of executives sitting around a conference room going, okay, gentlemen, what are we going to promise to our customers? And it falls short of things that are unintentional expressions of your brand. And I'll give you an example. Let's take this back to personalities. I'm a very self-confident person, but to some people that comes off as arrogance. So which is it? Am I self-confident or am I arrogant? Well, it's both, isn't it? It depends on who you are, who the person is who's perceiving the way I'm behaving and the way that I'm coming across. To some people, I'm just self-confident and very charming and enjoyable. And to other people, I'm arrogant. So both are true. It's the intentional and the unintentional. So one of the things that you really have to do as a company is to be as self-aware as you possibly can be, and to really examine the way that you are operating and the way that you are communicating with your customer, so that those little unintentional expressions of your brand are just as positive and just as reflective of the company that you want to be as you can be. And this kind of illustrates the point that it's perception as much as it is reality. I've worked with lots of companies in the past. For instance, I did a project with Benjamin Moore Paint Company years ago. And one of the things that we talked about is, well, your paint is more expensive than everybody else's. And they said, oh, no, it's not. It's actually very competitive. We're about the same price as the leading brand at the big box stores. And we said, no, it's not. It's more expensive. Because the customer thinks it's more expensive. Their perception is, if I go to a specialty store for paint instead of a big box store, I'm going to pay more. Even though that's not the reality, it doesn't matter. If that's their perception, then that's what you're working with. It also means that it's the positive and the negative. You don't just get to choose that we're only going to be positive with our customers and they're only going to think positive thoughts of us. Let's take Walmart, for instance. The brand that Walmart is projecting to the marketplace is save money, live better. And is that true? Yes, it's true. Walmart does a wonderful job of keeping prices as low as they possibly can on a wide range of products that allow their customers to live a lifestyle that's a little bit better because they can afford it. And that's great. That's wonderful. But there's also a second reality that's going on with Walmart where they have a bad reputation for browbeating their suppliers. They have a bad reputation for going into small markets and putting mom and pop businesses out of business. They have a bad reputation for the way they manage their employees and the way that they pay their employees. And all of that is real too. All of that reflects on their brand and affects your perception of their brand. So it's not just the positive that you're putting out there, it's also the negative. It's what you say and what you do. Let me give you another example. Nordstrom. Nordstrom developed a great brand identity associated with extraordinary customer service. And back in the 90s, there used to be a story that went around. I personally think this is a myth. I don't think this actually happened. But there's a story that went around that an elderly woman showed up at Nordstrom one afternoon with a set of snow tires and claimed that she bought them at Nordstrom. And the salesperson tried to very politely say, well, ma'am, we don't sell snow tires, so you couldn't possibly have purchased those here. But she insisted, no, I bought them here and I'd like to return them. So they took them back and they gave her store credit. Now, again, I think this is a myth. I don't think this actually ever happened. But the point is that Nordstrom at that time had provided such extraordinary customer service in comparison to their competitors that people believed this story and they propagated this story and they told all their friends this story. And Nordstrom developed a reputation for having stellar customer service. So just keep in mind, your brand is absolutely everything that you say and do. It's the way that your store looks. It's the way it smells. It's how bright it is. It's the music that you're playing in there. It's how you greet your customers when they walk through the door. It's the products that you're carrying or not carrying. It's your store policies, return policies, things like that. Absolutely everything that you say and do is in some way, shape, or form a representation of your brand. So it's really important to be very self-aware, to look at absolutely everything you're doing in terms of how is my customer going to perceive this? How are they going to look at us as a result of X that we're doing? Why should I care about being a brand? Well, there are only two options in the marketplace. You're either a brand or you're a commodity, one of the two. Brands exhibit unique characteristics that connect with customers emotionally. They create loyalty, and they demand higher price points, and they get them. People are willing to pay more for a brand than they are for a generic product. Commodities, on the other hand, compete solely on product and price. Do you have the product that I want, and if so, is it the lowest price that I can find it? And that's a very tough marketplace to play in these days. There are obviously big online distributors out there, Amazon, that can always provide quicker shipping, better return policies. They always have the product available and they always have the lowest price. So if you're going to try and compete in that world, it's going to be very, very tough. Whereas if you create a brand identity that customers identify with and they see you and they say, that feels like me, they're going to choose you even if it costs them a little bit more. Take a few minutes and think about who are the 5 people that you spend the most time with. Who are the people that you have commonalities with, you have shared interests with, you have things in common with. Maybe they have qualities that you admire and you want to have a little bit more of in your personality. And then think about, how does that apply to your business? How does that apply to your brand? If a customer were to walk into your store for the first time, how would they know what your values are? How would they know what you believe in? How would they know what you're passionate about? How are you communicating that to them? That's what you need to be focused on. If you can sell them a brand, if you can sell them your why, which we're going to get into in a little bit, then there will be an emotional connection there that will create loyalty, and they will advertise for you, they will tell all their friends to come to you, and they will buy from you. I hope this was helpful. Click the subscribe button for future videos. Leave us a comment down in the comment section. Maybe ask a question if there's anything that I can answer for you in future videos. And let's keep talking retail.